Coming to you live from Angkasa Puri, I'm Jessica Lee, and this is Updates at Noon. Our top stories today. Malaysia-Brunei negotiations ongoing for Trans-Borneo Highway. Job creation and entrepreneurs initiatives main focus of economic growth. Malaysia and Brunei have agreed to continue negotiations and consultations to study and finalise the proposed Trans-Borneo Highway linking both countries. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the proposed project covers two phases, with Phase 1 construction currently at 77%, while Phase 2 will involve Brunei in two segments. The Trans-Borneo Highway is a major road network system that connects Sarawak and Sabah, Kalimantan, Indonesia and Brunei Darussalam.
Iaitu di segmen 1, naik taraf dan membina semula laluan jajaran dari persimpangan Kuala Baram di Miri ke CIQ Sungai Tujuh di Kuala Belik. Ada missing link sepanjang 5 km. Dan dijangka projek ini akan bermula pada tahun 2023. Segmen kedua yang melibatkan Brunei ini juga pembinaan jalan baru dan naik taraf jalan sedia ada sepanjang 74 km melalui Limbang dan Lawas dalam proses pengambilan tanah yang dijangka siap dalam masa 48 bulan.
The Premier also said that the implementation of these two projects will improve connectivity between Malaysia and Brunei, and the Sultan of Brunei, Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah, have agreed to continue negotiations and consultations to study and finalise these proposed projects. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said his discussions with the Sultan also agreed for the first meeting of the Joint Land Boundary Committee as agreed in 2011 at the senior official level to be expedited. He said over 11 years, only 87.27 kilometres out of 528.45 kilometres of land boundary, or 17%, had been compiled and marked, and of that, only 34.15 kilometres had been finalised. The Prime Minister said apart from that, the Sultan of Brunei agreed to recognise the use of MySejahtera and Brew Health in both countries to facilitate system integration and use by the people of Malaysia and Brunei. Now, this cooperation, he said, was also crucial to smoothen the cross-border travel of people from both countries. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said that with the recognition, MySejahtera and Brew Health can be used in both countries. Now, the government will focus on two main thrusts to support the economic growth momentum this year, namely creating jobs and helping entrepreneurs to grow. Finance Minister Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz said this entails the creation of 600,000 job opportunities under the 4.8 billion ringgit Jamin Kerja initiative to help in the Keluarga Malaysia income recovery, as well as the 40 billion ringgit Semarak Niaga initiative for entrepreneurs. Commenting further on the matter, Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul said the government will also closely monitor any inflationary pressures, especially on food items, and ensure that appropriate measures are taken to alleviate the people's concerns about their survival. He said the Ministry of Finance, or MOF, and the government have always been responsive in ensuring that the entire Keluarga Malaysia and business communities are well supported, especially towards strengthening the country's economic recovery. He highlighted that the nation's gross domestic product, or GDP, grew by 3.1% in 2021, compared to the 5.6% contraction in 2020, thus reflecting the effectiveness of the government's aid and economic stimulus packages totaling 530 billion ringgit. The growth was also supported by the success of the National COVID-19 Immunization Program, or PICK, which has been further enhanced by booster doses and expansion of the program to include children. The minister added that additionally, the growth was also supported by the systematic National Recovery Plan, where all states have successfully transitioned to Phase 4, with almost all economic sectors and social activities being allowed to resume. The Ministry of Rural Development, or KPLB, has received about 80% of the list of houses, roads and public facilities affected by floods in rural areas so far. Its Minister, Datuk Sri Mazir Khalid, said, therefore, the district officers responsible for the remaining data must act on it immediately within the stipulated period. Elaborating further on the matter, Datuk Sri Mazir said for projects affected by floods in rural areas, the reporting comes from the district office, where the district officer is the chairman of the District Flood Operations Control Centre, or PKOB. He says so far the ministry have received the data for repairs and building of new houses, and they are able to attend to it with a budget of 50 million ringgit for flood relief works. The minister said this when met by the media after a meeting with KPLB agency directors and the presentation of contributions for the Mara Education Foundation, YPM, at the Muar Community Development Department, KEMAS office yesterday. He said so far 1,700 houses had been rebuilt under the 50 million allocated for house repairs.
All right.
The Malaysia Maritime Enforcement Agency, or MMEA, will get more ships and helicopters to assist enforcement and rescue operations in national waters. Home Minister Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin said this was aimed at strengthening the agency, which had several marine assets that were over 30 years old. Among them are KM Amana, 40 years old, KM Langkawi, 30 years old, and KM Siangin, over 30 years old, which are currently stationed in waters around Peninsular Malaysia.
Dalam perancangan Kementerian Dalam Negeri adalah untuk memastikan segala aset yang diperlukan itu dapat kita perolehi dengan secepat mungkin, kerana ia boleh membantu dari segi untuk menyelamatkan negara daripada pencerobohan oleh mereka yang melakukan jenayah-jenayah yang terancang.
Datuk Sri Hamzah also said the contract had been awarded to a local company that was supposed to deliver the ships 2 years ago, but experienced delays due to capacity constraints. Elaborating further, the minister said the first new MMEA ship was expected to be received this year, while another ship will be received next year and the third in 2024. At the same time, he said the ministry planned to add 3 more helicopters to MMEA's asset lineup. The National Under-23 head coach Brad Maloney is frustrated that his team will have to wait a little longer to kickstart their ASEAN Football Federation, or AFF, Under-23 Championship campaign following Myanmar's withdrawal from the competition yesterday. Now, the withdrawal resulted in Malaysia's opening Group B match against Myanmar at the Prince Stadium in Phnom Penh, Cambodia yesterday, being called off. Myanmar are the second team to withdraw from the championship after defending champions Indonesia, who were also drawn in Group B, pulled out last Friday when 7 of their players and a team official were tested positive for COVID-19. With their withdrawals, Malaysia and Laos are the only teams left in Group B, and they will square off at the Prince Stadium on the 18th of February to decide the group's champions, who will automatically advance into semi-finals. Maloney said that prior to arriving in Phnom Penh, his team had looked forward to playing 3 group matches at least. Now, according to Maloney, there was a proposal for Malaysia to play Laos twice now that there are only 2 teams left in the group. However, the proposal was declined by Laos. The 3 group winners and the best second-place team will advance to the semi-finals on the 24th of February, with the final scheduled 2 days later. And that concludes updates at noon. Making the headlines today, Malaysia-Brunei negotiations ongoing for Trans-Borneo Highway. Join us again for more updates at 10 p.m. on Saluran Berita RTM. I'm Jessica Lee. Thank you for watching.